If you grew up in an Indian household, there's a good chance you've had aloo sabzi in 100 different ways, each one more comforting than the last. Today, I'm sharing 3 aloo sabzi recipes you'll make on repeat, starting with the easiest and most nostalgic of them all. We're kicking things off with Puriwali aloo, or at least that's what we call it at home. You might also know this dish as rasedar aloo, a thin spiced potato dish that's typically served with fluffy puris on slow Sundays or at big North Indian weddings. So let's get started. You'll first heat a pan on medium heat and add a bit of neutral oil. Once the oil is hot, toss in a bay leaf and cumin seeds. Let them cook and dance for a few seconds until fragrant. Next, add ginger garlic paste or freshly grated ginger and garlic. I'm also adding green chilies and a pinch of hing or asafoetida. Hing adds depth and umami flavor. It also helps with digestion, which comes in handy if you're pairing this with fried puris. Now it goes in the tomato puree. Tomatoes are naturally acidic, and while that tang is essential, too much can make a dish feel overly sharp or sour. So I'm adding a small amount of honey to balance everything out. This is my favorite trick. It mellows the tanginess and brings harmony to the whole dish without tipping it into sweetness. Now it's spice time. I always list the exact spices and measurements in the description box below, so definitely check that out. Mix everything really well and let the spices cook down for a few minutes. You'll know it's ready when the mixture thickens slightly and the oil starts to separate. That's your cue. Now for the star of the show, boiled potatoes. I usually crush them by hand, which gives the dish a thicker texture, but today they were too hot to handle, so I roughly chopped them with a knife. Don't worry, they'll break down further as you stir. Let everything simmer together for a few minutes, allowing the potatoes to soak up all that spicy, tangy tomato goodness. And just like that, Puriwali aloo is ready. Serve this hot with puris, some achar on the side, and you've got yourself a plate full of comfort. Recipe 1 is done. Next up is a smoky bagan aloo bharta. This is a mashed eggplant and potato dish that's simple, bold, and full of flavor. One of my personal favorite dishes. We'll start by peeling our potato and chopping it into cubes. After you chop the potato into cubes, you'll want to soak the potato in water. Since we have some time before we start cooking with the potatoes, we'll soak them in water so they don't turn brown or black. Now it's time to cut our eggplant. We'll also cut this into cubes, removing some of the seeds because they can be slightly bitter and sometimes make the texture a little tough, especially if the eggplant is overripe. Taking the seeds out gives the bharta a smoother, creamier finish. Plus, my family really does not like the seeds. As I cut the eggplant into cubes, I'll soak them in water just like the potatoes to prevent them from browning or turning black. This helps keep them fresh and vibrant until we're ready to cook. Yes, I know this looks like a lot of chopping, but it's still faster than ordering takeout, I promise. Now it's time to finely chop 1 onion, red or white, whichever you prefer, along with some garlic, ginger, and green chilies. Fine chop all of this. Now it's time to cook. We're using a pressure cooker today. I'm using an electric one, but you can use any pressure cooker you have. Start by heating some oil in the cooker. Once the oil is hot, add panch foran. This is a blend of 5 spices. It consists of methi, jeera, kalonji, wild celery seeds, and salt, all in equal parts. Once the spices start sizzling and release their aroma, add the finely chopped onions, green chilies, ginger, and garlic. Next, add a pinch of hing or asafoetida. Cook everything until the onions are browned and have developed a nice color. Toss in the cubed potatoes and eggplant. Make sure to drain the water you soaked them in earlier so they don't add excess moisture to the dish. For an extra flavor boost, I'm adding some bagan barta masala. You can find this at most local grocery stores or Indian markets. It's a pre-blended spice mix that's made just for this dish. If you don't have it, I do list all of the spices in the description box, so be sure to check that. Add salt to taste along with red chili powder, coriander powder, and a pinch of turmeric powder. I also add a couple spoonfuls of tomato puree, or you could add paste to give it a nice tangy flavor. Mix everything together so that the spices coat the potatoes and eggplant. Now add just enough water to cover the vegetables. If you're using a regular pressure cooker, close the lid, set it on high heat, and cook for about 5 minutes. If you're using an electric pressure cooker like I am, make sure it's set to high pressure. We'll set it for 5 minutes. Let it cook, and once the timer goes off, let it sit for about 5 to 7 minutes to naturally release some of the pressure. Then carefully release any remaining steam and open the cooker. If the dish is a bit too liquidy for your liking, just cook it for another few minutes to let the liquid evaporate and thicken up. Once it's at the perfect consistency, add some freshly chopped coriander and a sprinkle of garam masala to finish it off. Personally, I love pairing this with rice and a side of yogurt, but it's equally delicious with roti or paratha. Now for that smoky taste and flavor, it's definitely achievable in a pressure cooker. I skipped it this time, but in the description box gave you thorough instructions on how to achieve the smoky flavor and taste in a pressure cooker. So definitely check the description box today. There's lots of valuable information to be found there. Recipe 2 is done. Now onto the third and final dish for today, a dry guar phali or aloo ki sabji. Minimal ingredients and it comes together in minutes, so let's make it. Grab your pan, heat some oil up enough to cover the bottom. Add cumin seeds and rye, which is mustard seeds, the black ones. Let those dance for a minute. Add green chilies, ginger, and garlic. Let that also cook for a minute or two. Next, add in your onions sliced long, not diced. I like to keep them about the same length as the guar. Let the onions cook down until they turn soft and pink. That's when their sharpness mellows and they start building that flavor we want. Now we'll start to add our vegetables. Toss in your chopped guar, give this a mix, and then add in your chopped and cubed potatoes. We'll mix and cook for about 2 minutes before we start adding any spices. Now we'll turn the gas down to medium-low and we'll add salt to taste and turmeric powder. We'll add the rest of the spices towards the end, so give this a really good mix. Add a little water, cover, and let this cook for 5 to 8 minutes. The guar should be tender but still have a bit of a bite, and the potatoes should be soft and fully cooked through. Now we'll add the rest of our spices, Kashmiri red chili powder, coriander powder, and dry mango powder. Give this a really good mix and cook for an additional 2 to 3 minutes. The last spice we'll add is a little garam masala just to bring it all together. Finish with some freshly chopped coriander, and that's it. Recipe 3, guar phali or aloo ki sabji, is done and ready to serve. Pair this with some warm rotis or dal chawal and you have the ultimate comfort food. 3 aloo sabjis you'll be making on repeat. If you've made it this far, thank you for cooking along with me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know in the comments which aloo recipe you'll be trying next or which one is your favorite if you've already tried one of these. I'll see you soon in a new video.